So that is why I must do what I must do now. So the locus of missions, the mental model of missions, really should not be geographical location, but it's generations, it's people, alright? Now, the way most people read this verse, Acts 1:8, most of the time is this. I'll say like it is in the way we think, which is, you shall receive power after the Holy Ghost has come upon you. You shall be witnesses unto me, beginning from Jerusalem, and then Judea, and then Samaria, and then the uttermost parts of the earth. Right? So the idea there is, that's the way we normally read it, you know. From here, then here, then here. But that's not the way it is written. It says, both in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. You see the difference there? There are two completely different models. One is concurrent, happens at the same time. The other one is sequential, one after another. Right? It's like the North African problem, you know, that I mentioned. Now, if the disciples had waited until all Jerusalem were evangelized, everyone became a Christian, and they want to have super mega city church of Jerusalem, everybody is in, you know, they'll still be waiting today. The gospel would not have gone outside of Jerusalem, because we have to do it in Jerusalem before we get on to Judea, right? So it's not from this, then this, then this. It's both this and this and this. So it's concurrent, it's happening all the time. So we have to do this as well as that, as well as. Now this gives us the holistic vision of mission that I said we must recover. We must have a world vision of missions. You know that organization, right? It's called World Vision. But we must have a world vision of missions. It's not just something in our doorstep. Now this is, but anyway, it's a very helpful framework for us to interpret, to pray, and to think about it, which I often use all the time, right? So if you think of your Jerusalem ministry, it's your familiar ground. These are different spheres of interaction and influence between people, amongst people. So this is your regular world. They are the people who are closest to you, who are nearest to you. Not necessarily closest sometimes, you know, people you see every day. In your office, for example, right? Your school or your army camp, whatever. You may not love them, but they are the nearest ones. You have to live with them, you have to work with them, you see them all the time, right? So that's your regular world. That's your Jerusalem ministry. Then you have the Judean sphere of service. That's a little bit further apart. That's your extended network. All your links, your relatives and so on. You see them once in a while. You're all related in some ways. Oh, my old school buddies, you know, my Facebook pals, all these kinds of things, right? So that's your regular world, and this is a world which is just as close, but you don't see them so regularly, but nevertheless they're related to you. So you can call this your related world. You have something to do with them, maybe quite long ago, but you come back. And they are also included in your sphere of service and influence. Then the third, there's a little jump, your Samarian ministry. Samaria represents the region in which, generally speaking, you have nothing much to do with them. Like the Jews and the Samaritans, they have nothing much to do. Arm's length, you know. Unless something dreadful happens, I have to go, then I go. Otherwise, I won't. All right? So it's your remote world. It's far. I don't normally go there. Now remember, all this need not be geographically locational. It can be cultural, socio-political, economic, anything, right? So, for example, you are here. Now, there is a Samarian world here, which is so remote from the average Singaporean. They don't know it's there, right? It's just like, when we have our gospel rallies, we send everybody out to go door to door to give out the tracts, invite them. So the young people, some not so young, so my daughter, my wife, they all went out with the rest. It's an eye-opener sometimes. You go to these flats, dingy little places, those, not the high-end flats, but the really low-end. And you see, these people are out there. They are right across the block from your church. They live there. So these are the people. Now, they are your Samarian. They may just be across a few blocks away, but they are a Samaritan world. They are far removed from the average middle-class congregation that we have. But people need to be there to know. So that's your remote world. And then finally you have the utmost part of the world. That's your way out world. So rare, rarefied atmosphere. It's some place that I've never been before. I've never been to Iceland or Greenland. Some people have never stepped into a one-room flat in Singapore before, for example. So it can be like that. So these are all different spheres of ministry. And like we said just now, your neighbor is the one not next to you, but the one needing you. So it need not be a mission field in that sense. The needs abound, so therefore the opportunities abound. And if we had our eyes open to see, there are ministry opportunities everywhere. It can be a backyard mission field, like you have here. There are mission fields on our doorstep. Especially today in Singapore, there are so many foreign students, workers. They're all different specialized categories, and they are each a mission field. And our prayer should be that these people come here not just to be materially blessed, find a better job, a better standard of living, but they find God here. Why should they not be? One of the things that have been put on I was in the higher education sector for 24 years. Is this burden to realize that the burgeoning, growing, increasing population of foreign students, not only in all our institutions of learning, in the government, but many are not captured out there in the private institutions.